You are now listening to Out of the Blank.
Welcome to another episode of Out of the Blank podcast. I'm here with Andy Peters.
Hey, how are you doing?
I'm doing all right, Andy. Why don't you tell me a little bit about yourself and if you want, what you do professionally?
So, I am Andy Peters. I am 46 years old. So my daytime job is I'm an IT engineer. So, I do that. And then my current side hustle is beard product reviewer.
Beard product reviewer. I think I've talked to most reviewers when it comes to food, but I don't think I've ever talked to a beard product reviewer.
It is a very niche Instagram type of thing where, I mean, I literally have 3,000 followers and they love beards. They love beard products, they love beards. It's actually a really big game. There's like thousands of product owners out there. So, and they all want to get some time, make sure that they get some marketing, some publicity. So,
Yeah, well, beard reviews in general too. Like you got to have a beard to be even involved in that. You can't review beard products and not have a beard. Me, I got this little bit of facial hair, I would say maybe like a little patch on my chin, but that's just so I don't get carded for the dumb stuff. I got what they call a baby face. They say it's beautiful right now, and when you get older, you're gonna really love it. But yeah, it makes it difficult. You get carded doing everything.
so yeah, I've had a baby face all my life. I started growing facial hair for that reasons because I was always looking too young. I got carded up until my 30s. So when I started growing the beard out, and at least some facial hair, I've had some facial hair for some time, but I went with the mustache at first, and then I went with the goatee, and I think I was with the goatee for like 10, 15 years. And then I started really taking, kind of ventured out a little bit, and now I went to a yeared last year. So a yeared is where you grow a beard for a year, do some minimal shaving, and see where it goes. And then my wife basically said, "You got to do something different than that." So it was pretty good size, but I think that a more corporate beard is kind of my thing.
Well, I spend like in a job scenario, I'm carding people every single day. I mean, we're letting people into a casino, you gotta be 21 years old. So I'm sitting there watching people go through, and I can tell someone's age pretty well. Like my buddy always goes, "Dude, how do you know?" Like we had at one point, he was coming to me asking, "How old is she? How old is she?" Just to make sure he was able to, like you don't want to date anybody underage. And I can just point out people's age. I'm like, dude, those girls are 15. He's like, what? There's no way. And I'm like, well, it's mistakenly with everything nowadays. I mean, they grew up a lot more. Like 15-year-olds now are a lot different than 15-year-olds when I like back in the day, You look, there's a complete total shift with makeup and everyone wanting to have these beauty standards. But like when I'm at the casino looking at IDs and checking people and stuff, I don't really need to card anybody because I can tell who's underage and who's overage. Usually, you get the subtle wrinkles or subtle things. But man, my buddy had a mustache when we were like 8 years old, 9 years old. He looked like a fucking adult, man. And I don't know. There are some of them like that dude's only 16 years old. You're like, no way. He's got a full on goat man beard on him.
I knew a guy like that in high school as well, and that guy was one of my good friends, and he always had the facial hair growing. It took me a long time to be able to grow anything that looked good, and now I still have, I have a little bit of patches on the sides, but and that's like so to a beard reviewer or beard guy, that's what they judge you on is what kind of beard do you have, patches, do you not? In my opinion, you just got to rock what you got and move forward. If you want to be you want to have a small beard, small facial hair thing going on, it's still a style, it's still something, it's still part of a cool community of people.
Well, we classify you on it too. Like I think back in the day, it really got super popular with beards. Like bikers had them. We had the giant, long, kind of scraggly beard. Kind of shows you were rugged or more of a man's man. I mean, it's how we symbolize for guys. Like if you have a huge beard or something, you got like manly features to you. It's like reviewing hot sauce or doing something like that. But then you got back in the day, carnivals, muscle men, those giant strongman guys had the big burly mustache. I mean, facial hair throughout history has been a symbol. And I mean, there's classifications on different styles based on the fact of the time period. My favorite is probably the bar style mustache, the one that curls up on each side, does
Yep,
that
yep.
like, yeah, like a
Handlebar. Yep.
exactly, like a dude kind of selling tinctures or something in the old west or something. I love that style. But I've known my dad for basically, obviously, my whole entire life, but I've never ever really seen him without a beard. I mean, I grew up, he had a goatee always. And I remember when he changed it, I was like, what happened? He goes, what? He goes, my beard. I cut it. You like it? And I'm like, no, I've known you for like 20 something years having a beard and you finally shaved it. You just pistol whipped a blind kid.
Yeah, so I had a barber accident probably about 6 months ago, and the guy like butchered the thing. And here I am, a beard reviewer, and so this thing was manhandled, and it was taken down to like scruff, and I'm like, this is what you don't do when you're a beard reviewer. So I just had to, actually I used it as a way of showing that you can what products to use to grow beard. So there's like different products out there that they like. Biotin is a big beard growth product, and there's different oils and things that you could use to help kind of facilitate growth. So I kind of use that as that opportunity. But yeah,
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 sir.
it's an interesting look, and I think my wife immediately she actually liked it a little with a little bit of facial hair. She definitely I've shaved it off in the past, and she hates it so much that yeah, it's definitely a look.
Well, it's hard to try and find your style too. Like some people I know that have a beard, I'm like, yeah, that's exactly what he would look like with a beard. Like that's his style. That fits him to a T. Like a dude named Jeff with like a goatee or something. That would fit a guy named Jeff. And then you're looking around, like you see people like it doesn't fit their face. Like, you obviously have to go through the thing. Me, I feel like I could rock fucking mutton chops for sure. But my body's like, my dad was like, you're probably not going to grow a beard until you're 30. I'm like, 30? I'm like, people are already growing mustaches and stuff. He goes, how old are you right now? I go, I'm 22. He goes, how often do you shave? I'm like, once every other week or something. He's like, yeah, yeah. He goes, I didn't have a full on goatee like this until I was 30 years old. I'm like, wait, so that means when I hit 29, the day of I hit 30, I just get a beard comes in. He goes, I don't think it's like that, but you're gonna be 30. But once I had one, I never shaved it off.
Yeah, that's a truth. Yeah, most and especially it's a trendy thing now. It's kind of a hip thing. So there's a lot of younger guys trying to grow them, and a lot of guys that are very frustrated with that. So that's it's unfortunate, but that's the way
Patience, like
of.
a bonsai tree, right? I mean, the fact you wait for it to grow and you trim it up a special way. I know so many people that are trying to make it grow as long as possible. They literally have shirts designed that shows the length of their beard. And like my one buddy's is that it says Santa Claus on his shirt and it's like near his belly button. I'm like, this is crazy.
It's amazing how much of the thing it is, and the bearded community, we call it the bearded community, actually are really strong members. It's really on Instagram. I find them throughout everywhere that I go on social media, but it's really strong on Instagram. And there's thousands of these guys, thousands and thousands of guys that are just interested in talking about beards and how it relates to their relationships. And it's a pretty cool way of I call it I it's almost like a spiritual experience or spiritual group where they're all very committed. We dedicate our charities together. We do all sorts of crazy stuff together that's amazing, and it's just because we grew a beard.
Yeah, my buddy Raymond Witzel, he was on my podcast a long time ago. Owns a beard company called The Sinful. Well, his podcast called The Sinful Show, but it's Sinful Beard Oils. And then my buddy Alex, who's coming up on the podcast, known as the Bearded Nut. He's a farmer, but that's a symbol, like it's a title. I mean, you can use beard in your name; it just makes you even more badass. I mean, uh, honestly, the best advice I've ever gotten with a beard is always trust a man with a beard. I might not be, true in all scenarios for some people, but for me, it's always been that because they've always been the nicest and the kindest. a lot of people have these giant scraggly looking things on their face or whatever. They're really neat or kept, but even though they look like, maybe have like a dangerous side to them, like a biker, but they really are some of the nicest people that show the greatest amount of kindness. And I think it's because they're very, very patient for how long they have to wait for something like that to happen.
Right. And so I am the bearded practitioner because I actually, that's kind of my thing, is kind of like a Zenish thing for me. It's about the whole community itself is about how to be a better man. And beard growing is just one part of it, but it definitely is what products you're using. Are they good for you? Are they healthy for you? How is your mind as well as a man? What is your emotion? Raise your emotional IQ, guys. That's kind of what I promote on my channel, is this awareness that comes along with growing a beard, but also making sure that your healthy mind, soul, everything is all intact. It's a holistic approach that I try to push. And I'll do beard product reviews, but I think that I'm always constantly pushing and striving for people to up their game in all areas.
Well, even saying you do beard reviews or something, but you literally just said bearded practitioner is what you call yourself and using forms of holistic. How so exactly? Because that's a lot different from a beard reviewer. That's more like a guru in my mind. Like I picture you taking those little ponytail bands or something and wrapping them around your beard and getting like the looks like where it's like an 8 ball or something on their chin.
So I'm actually, so other than the beard reviewer part, I actually am a meditation teacher. So I teach, and actually, I kind of, with everything going on with the coronavirus, is kind of shut down right now. But I teach meditation to people in our area in Arizona. I have a kids class that I do. I do one in the local Mesa, Arizona place. And I'm teaching people how to be more patient, how to be more loving, how to be more kind. And so it just kind of goes along with.
Just like every sensei in every type of karate movie with the long beard, where he has his arm probably like 5 feet away from him and he's holding the end of his beard. And then he has like, I don't even know, there's just a multiple things going on at the same time while it leads back to his face. It's like, man, you got a really long beard there. Does it not drag against the floor? And he's like, it does, but does not stop me from doing karate. I'm like, okay, okay.
So that's kind of the and then I started this because I am a practitioner of meditation. So then I thought, well, like, I'm also growing a beard, because usually when you think uh, a practitioner of meditation, they're usually a monk or something, a Buddhist monk, and they don't have any facial hair. So I thought, well, I'm gonna go with this. And then I'm also trying to teach holistic approach to life. So I'm really focused on that. I have on Instagram, I'll post like uh, once a day something about what I'm actually reviewing, and then I'll post something that's more Zenish as well. Something that's kind of a thought-provoking piece that makes you think.
Well, how exactly do you come at it with a holistic approach? Take me kind of through your thing. Like, what do you truly try and focus on? Usually, we say holistic healing. We look at forms of meditation, balancing out, like you're saying, or more of a nutrition aspect of things. And if I'm looking at it as a bearded practitioner for the nutrition part, basically anything that does not stick in your fucking beard. So, chili, soups, all that type of stuff has to be out.
Right, right. And that's, I always get this. So I'm on TikTok and they don't understand. I use that as a format to make a video that's with something while I'm testing something, make a fun little video, and then I'll transfer it to Instagram. And their comments are usually like, my fingers, chili, cheese, my soup, my dinner, and then the guys on Instagram, they all, they'll chime in with what's in my beard. It's, their beard products. They get it. But yeah, so what my approach is, that I am interested in, and this is kind of the beard reviewing piece, is that, is this good for my beard? But also, it's not only good for your beard, because there's the skin underneath it. And basically, we talk about keeping care of good skin care. So it has to have skincare products, basically, that are good for your beard, because the oils and stuff that go in, it's actually nourishing your skin, that helps promote the beard growth. And then you also have stuff that helps style it, like balms and butters are actually help moisturizing it. And then you have beard washes. I mean, it's just a huge product line. And in that, you're teaching guys how to not just put shampoo in their beard, wash it with some soap. You want to actually help them figure out what's good for them in that aspect. And then it's also an opportunity. I've done some meditation classes actually through YouTube. So yeah, I've actually gotten on with a bunch of bearded dudes and talked about meditation and why it's good for you. My friend, the bearded shark, he was using it to stop smoking.
Using it to stop smoking a form of meditation. Do you think you get that trust because of the fact that you have a beard?
I think it's because I am a meditation teacher. I think that's where I get that form of trust because I do teach meditation, and I just happen to have, the beard review thing is just like, oh, that's something he's also doing. He has a YouTube format to be able to reach out to these guys, but they know that I'm teaching meditation.
Well, the whole
And
aspect is if you give me a lineup of different types of meditation teachers, a girl, a guy, whatever. If you have a beard, you're getting my attention. I'm looking to you to be my teacher. I just sense wisdom in it. That's why I was asking if you find that your beard might attract more people in that way.
I don't know, because I usually just interact with the bearded community guys. So it's really hard to tell because that's what I'm gearing and that's what I'm all focused on. So most of the people that I'm friending on Instagram is just a bearded dude. So whether they all have a beard too, so there's really no difference. They just know that I have a format that is teaching meditation as well. So a lot of guys will come and reach out to me and say, "Hey, I'm interested in." I noticed that there's a lot of ex-vets that come to me looking for some help with PTSD.
Hmm.
And so a lot of guys, as soon as they get out of the military, they're growing a beard, and there's a lot of product owners out there that's like they're making products and they're ex-military, and that's kind of vet owned. But that also comes with that bag of where they just came from. They were, out of Afghanistan or Iraq, and they have some of them really have some serious PTSD issues, and that's something that they're looking to, they've been to the hospitals and they're also looking for some other holistic approaches.
Maybe trying to look at growing a beard. I mean, in the military, that's kind of frowned upon. So you have to shave all the time. So maybe when they get out, the reason why they grow a beard, uh, maybe not being able to deal with their PTSD, but finding that if they grow a beard, that's something they can control.
Right, exactly. And also it's, a sign of manliness. That's the interesting thing that I try to evaluate is like, why is this trend going on?
Well, it's been taught
And
to us since we're like children or something that beards are supposed to be for manly men. I mean, they're constantly every single product or, like aftershave commercial. It's some dude's like he's a business executive, like, don't want that beard before a meeting. Next thing you know, it's like he's giving himself a clean shave or he's doing something where he trims up his goatee, makes his hair really, really neat. That's the whole thing of selling products. It was based on classification. If you had a beard, it kind of showed wealth a little bit. Royalty had long beards or had facial hair. It's the same thing at one point in our history. White wigs, everyone thought that that meant royalty or that meant fancy. That was only done that way because there was an outbreak of syphilis in the old country. And what happens is when you get syphilis, your nose falls off, your hair basically falls out. You start to get these scabs or like welts or kind of your lesions, I would say, on the top of your head. So the rich started wearing these giant wigs to cover that up. And next thing you know, it just hit a social trend, and we went this way.
right, and that's sometimes I think that Hollywood kind of dictates a lot of trending, as of course, and
Brad Pitt.
right. So who was the first one? He grew a huge beard, right? And I think he was in that. I've seen him with several beards. And you have Brad Pitt. You have a lot of. I was looking at Tom Hardy. He has a beard. Keanu Reeves has this patchy beard. Lots of guys. As soon as Hollywood starts grabbing onto it, and then everybody else wants to do it. So I thought that the trend honestly would die, but it hasn't. And so I'm always interested in the psychology behind things, and that's kind of my bag as well, is trying to figure out why is it that men feel like they need to have this. And I think it is absolutely right. It's culturally believed that men are tougher. And I think that in a culture where we want to be individual. We want to definitely, growing a beard is part of that. As a man, is being able to be masculine. I'm a masculine person. I have a good sized beard. I have a style that goes with it that makes me kind of the snowflake.
Well, we live in a world where everybody's wearing the same haircut. It's so hard to define people. I mean, even walking up behind somebody you think is your buddy Jim. Next thing you know, the dude turns around and some dude you've never met before, like, oh, sorry, you look like my buddy. We're all trying to define ourselves with something, that add on, that certain characteristic, and the classifications on it too. Like, there's a dude goes to my gym. He's not exactly what I would say a workout type. He just sits on the equipment, but I know him as a failed member of Avenged Sevenfold because he has a beard like he was in a heavy metal band that didn't work out. He has literally, like, if you took like a child is taking those blocks, like the square block, the circle block, and trying to put it to match the hole, it looks like you shoved his chin hair in one of those rectangle blocks and then pulled it right out. It's just straight, like perfect like that. But like I said, it goes with classifications. I mean, rock concerts, metal concerts, all those singers, the main major influences had beards, had some type of facial hair, had something. Classical composers or this maybe orchestra art, they're very neat, they're very clean, they have short hair up top, maybe a little bit of long kind of hair, but it's kept. And their beards aren't, there's no beards. They clean shave that.
Right. I think it's just as culturally based, and I think also it's the community that you want to associate yourself with. So we have biker beards, and there's a fair amount of those guys that are existing. They will always exist in our culture. The bikers, kind of the biker guys, the lumberjack looking guys. Yeah, they're
Wolverine, mutton chops.
right, exactly. There's always going to be a certain amount, but that's what I love about it is that there's, it's it's kind of like doing makeup. There's so many different products. It's kind of like our way of being able to express ourselves, and we have the ability to grow beards and do different styles on them. And I look at the amount every week. I look at there's different styles that you can put out, and there's at least 100 now that have different beard styles, short beards, medium beards, and there's different styles even within those. So it's fun. It's fun.
It's like
And
dressing up in a costume in a way. I mean, it seems like a lot of people use a beard too to also cover up something, such as like a scar or a certain blemish on their face that you wouldn't know. Like, I have a freckle on the side of my face. When it comes down to like my lower part of my chin, right where like a chin strap beard would go, and that can get covered up easily with a little bit of hair. You wouldn't even tell that I had it. Like, there's certain things that get analyzed that way too. And when you said classifications, you don't think beards, it seemed, or did you say you don't think that they're going to die out, or you think that there was a point where it was getting kind of like they're dying out?
I think that there will always be a certain amount of bearded dudes out there. There's always going to be this certain stigma of like biker guy. Biker guys normally will always have a beard. That biker beard will always be in, because that's where they want to be classified. They want to put themselves into that. I'm a biker and I have a beard,
Yeah,
and
I don't
those guys.
think beards are going to die at all. I think certain classifications I think we can agree on are definitely dead trending. Like, you could definitely not rock what I call, it's called the toothbrush, but everybody knows it fonder as a thing called the Hitler stash.
Yeah, yeah.
If you wear that, you are evil in everyone's eyes, and that's because one dude ruined a perfectly good facial hair for everybody.
He did indeed, and I've known some people who've tried to bring that back, and there's just no go on it unless you're rocking something else. You can't just be barefaced with that mustache, that squared off mustache. Yeah, you can't do that. It's
I
just
mean,
not going to happen.
I've seen people do the opposite too, where instead of just growing it right under their nose, they'll grow it everywhere but there and leave it like that. And I'm like, okay, I mean, that works, but as soon as you do that, like, if you're not dressing up to play a part in a major film or something, it's not acceptable.
I've known some people that rock the handlebar pretty well. And that was like a trending thing it still is kind of a thing, but it was a really big trend about 6 years ago where everybody was rocking the handlebars.
It was a hipster type thing. You got the faded haircut that went with it. It was, you get a little bit shaved on the sides and then longer up top. But when you look at the handlebar, how did they grow it though? Because I started to notice there's different ways. People had it where it was only growing from right under their nose and it would curl up and out, like so it was just long there. But then I started noticing people that couldn't get it like that, they would grow it and then just shave their mustache to line it up like that, like it was like drawn or something. I was like, hang on a second, that's still connected to your face. I want it to where you can grab it and twirl it and then do something like that.
Right. So the way that if you talk to many people that actually have a good size handlebars, that it'll grow straight down, but you learn to train it to go to the sides, and then there's mustache wax that you use to actually form it so that it is constantly being tamed so that it just does the little twirl. And then at the very end, you're definitely putting some mustache wax on it to make it turn, but you're training it the entire time. You're just training it to go from the sides and pushing it to the sides, and then you'll use that mustache wax. And then some guys I know, they just kind of like what you're saying is that they just they're letting the sides go out longer of their mustache, and then they just kind of twirl that a little bit. I think that depends on what style you're looking for. The guys that have a bigger mustache, or the guys that have the huge ones, usually have a bigger mustache, and it gives it a bigger base.
What do you typically side is your favorite when it comes to mustaches or beards?
I think my style is corporate. I have lots of good friends that do the big burly man beards. They're going to beard competitions. There's actually beard competitions out there where you'll see them go into, they'll rank them into small beards, medium beards, long beards. They'll do different crazy styles. I think that I've seen a movie recently where it was the one where they bring the weirdos to dinner. And I can't remember the name of the movie, but they had the guy from The Office, and they were bringing like the weirdest person they could to dinner, and one of the guys was one of the beard
I
champions.
just watched that last night. It's called Dinner for Schmucks.
Yes,
I
yes.
literally I was thinking about that. I just watched it last night. He had a handlebar mustache that was like a foot long, like from widthwise, and he had like 8 of them all attached into one giant beard that kind of curved down. I can't believe you just said that. I was literally thinking about that the whole time.
Yeah. So that's one of that's a beard champion. Actually, there's championships, there's like local beard competitions, and then they'll go into nationals, and then there's worlds. So they actually have people that are reviewing. I mean, it's like a big thing, and they'll glue their beard. I know a guy, and I saw this guy. This guy had a mustache. I think it must been, and it was straight to side as you could possibly imagine, and it was probably 4 foot. The thing was massive, and that's all he had was just this. Yeah, he basically, I mean, this thing was just straight, and it was thin, but it went straight out from his face and was like 2 feet past it at least. I mean, it was massive. I've never seen anything like that, and it was perfectly straight, and it was perfectly level. It had no, it was just amazing. I don't know what he was holding. I was told that they used like some sort of glue or something to make it hold like that.
That Elmer's product.
Yeah, something.
Some
But
Elmer's glue keeping that hair strong and thick. I mean, I look
yeah.
at like how much people actually go into spending on beard oils and stuff. Does it really matter? It seems like, I get like a prank gig or prank kind of gift from Christmas or something. It's like growth oil. And I'm like, oh yeah, cool. And I just throw it away. Like, is any of it really, really matter depending on what's in it? Like maybe get the common simple things. Like, is there any type of like maybe spending $80 on a beard growth? Like, is that really matter?
So beard growth wise, that that the beard growth, if you're looking for growth, there's certain vitamins in something that helps promote it, and helps promote healthy skin. The big thing is promoting healthy skin and follicle growth. So biotin is one actual vitamin that you can take. It's a natural vitamin. and you can get it out of eggs, you can get it out of different foods, but there's actually just a pill you can take that helps promote beard growth. Also, there is oils that help promote follicle health and skin health that makes it a little bit stronger. So yeah, I would say that after my experiences with beard oils, they're not all the same. um, there's different carrier oils, and then there's different essential and fragrance oils that make them up. Now, the fragrance oils definitely, and essential oils give it the smell. And I'll tell you that that's one of the big things in the bearded community is you can make stuff that smells like cologne, some stuff that's woodsy, fruity. Tobaccos are a big popular. Coffee is another scent that people go after. And then, but the biggest thing is that the carrier oils help the skin, and they will actually there's different oils that help with different epidural areas of epidural is the wrong word, skin layers.
Hey, we're not supposed to be grammar correct on the show, so that's 100% fine.
Yeah, so skin layers, and the different oils have different reactions with different parts of the skin.
And even when you're growing a beard too, like before when it's just like that, like the hairs are just poking through the cheeks a little bit and it's just coming in, like it's like if you rub your hand on it, it seems rough. That is manly too. People incorporate that with their beard, like a nice 5 o'clock shadow, and then at the end have a goatee at the bottom of it.
Yeah, like a stubble. Yeah, stubble beards are still in. That's a short beard style. Yeah, absolutely. There's guys that have. My wife prefers that, honestly. That's what she was always trying to get me to do. I had to have at least stubble going because she always liked that. Now, she is one of those people that at longer beard, she's thinking I look Amish. So I said, well, I'm ready to go out and work in the barn or something. So we're good. We're good.
You're working the rabbi? Is that what it is?
Yeah,
You rocking the rabbi?
that's what she was saying.
Dude, okay, so when I was a kid, probably like 14 or 13 years old, me and my grandma worked at a water park. But before I got there, it was like my day off or something. We went to the water park. They don't open until 8 o'clock. This park opened on this special day till at 10 instead of 8, which I thought was weird. But they had a bunch of Jewish people rent out the whole entire water park, everything. Um, because it's against their religion at a young age to see apparently a girl in a bikini or something.
Oh,
And
interesting.
these kids, besides having like the long curls off to the side of their hair, those, the Jewish locks they call it, or they all had beards. They all had the same style too. It was really, really strange. And even at talking to them a little bit too, like, how long does it take to get a beard like that? How does it define? A lot of people, and especially certain religions, a beard is a classification on knowledge as well. If someone's an older person, a part of a tribe or a group, the longer their beard, they look to him as the wisdom, or the chieftain has to have the big beard.
Right, exactly. And I actually have a really good friend who's in Israel, and he has a beard product called Alaf Male, and he's Jewish, and he's very spiritual.
You said
And
Olaf Mayo, I immediately thought of Olaf from Frozen. That just tells you where
yeah,
our brains go.
yeah. So it actually means alpha, kind of like, it's like that religious symbol of the alpha, the omega. So it's very spiritual, very religious based, and actually makes his oils based off of different pieces of the Torah itself. So he different things that he'll blend together, and he'll say, "Hey, this is represents this significant ceremony," and throws it out as a beard oil. Really cool guy, but you're right. He's definitely, when you watch his videos, he moved to Israel. So I think he was one of those grew up Jewish, but by the fact that he was born into a family, and then he kind of found his roots and his religious, spiritual side later in life, and then decided, I'm going to go move to Israel and be part of this.
Yeah, it's really weird because certain cultures also frown upon it if you grow a beard. Like it's just against their religion. You have to keep a nice, clean shaven face because that's supposed to represent cleanliness. Like beards usually get thrown in the same stereotype as being dirty. Even if you use as much oil products or if you make it look as clean as possible, it still gets thrown in the category like a beard is it's grizzly, it's this, it's that. It's like it's a sense of manship. And then if you look at it aside of maybe having a clean no beard at all and the facial hair, it's seen as like that's what it is. It's clean. It's fresh. It's baby.
Right, and they say it's clean. Yeah, exactly. When you cut it, it's clean. It's a clean look. Absolutely. And that's the one thing that I deal with all the time. I will just go to places and I have like a couple in my center that just as soon as you walk in, that's dirty. I'm like, where did you hear that? Well, this Swedish guy said that it's as dirty as a toilet or a dog's mouth. And I'm just like, yeah, did you actually? And then you have to like, because I know all this stuff about how it was refuted that this guy was really off as, but that's what people hold on to is they hear something like that and they go, oh, dirty beard, that guy's dirty.
Well, even when you're getting prepped for a job interview, it's like make sure you're clean shaven, make sure you got no tattoos showing. I'm like, that's weird just to get the job there because once they literally get the job there, then they have a beard. Like every time I picture a guy with a beard, like a long goatee or something, wearing a dress shirt, I always think of, he has the dress shirt rolled up at the arms or something and has a tattoo or something. Like that's mostly what I've seen. It's strange what we consider like is perfect. Like, oh, you don't want to have a beard if you go into a job interview because they won't hire you because that just shows it's unkempt or anything like this. I'm like, I've seen some beards that take a lot of classification, and you would think if it's linked to knowledge and manliness, you would want that.
Right, exactly. And that's part of the being bearded is our sense of wanting to bring awareness that we aren't dirty. That's the reason why I do these beard product reviews because there's more I have more products than my wife does for my beard, and because I have beard wash, I have a co-wash, I have all this stuff to make sure it's nourished correctly. In order to in order to have a good looking beard, you have to be able to wash it, have the right products in it. It takes a lot of work. And so bringing awareness to that, and that's what our community is really about as well. That's if you go on Instagram, you'll see, just type in bearded anything,
We
and you'll
literally complain about chicks taking too long to get ready, and she's in the car trying to go to Applebee's, and you're in there putting beard oil stuff in. You're like, come on.
absolutely. And so I've actually had that happen a couple times. Like, hey, I got to take a shower before I go. I can't go out looking straggly, because you if you right out of the bed on a Saturday morning, my wife will want to go. We have a local restaurant that we go to, and I'll be like, I have to, I'm a beard reviewer. So beard product reviewers are, the kind of people will be like, hey, what's going on there? But the second thing is you want to look nice. You want to go out at least, and it's not wash and go. There's no wash and go with a beard if you have a good size one. You have to put some, there's heated brushes out there. There's some, you're using your hair dryer to make sure it's straightened a little bit. You have to put the beard oil. You have some styling balm that you put in. Yeah, it's a show, and it's definitely, to me, it's worth it. But definitely, I think gone are the days where you can just show up scraggly looking.
Yeah, but see, doesn't that come to you as like a waste of money, even though and a waste of time, just because it'd be so much easier just to have a clean shaven face. You wouldn't have to worry about spending extra time to do so, or do you just love it so much that it doesn't really matter?
To me, it's loving it so much. I think that it's my style, and everybody has their style. It for me it's like meditation. It's you're something to do in the morning for about 10-15 minutes to get ready for your day. You're prepping for your day, just like putting on good clothes. This is how I look at it is that if you can go every Saturday Sunday, if you work a corporate job, every Saturday Sunday you'll put on a t-shirt, you put on some jeans and you're good. But on your work days you want to put on a nice shirt, you want to present yourself looking good. And I think that's what I do with my beard. It's just another step into looking good, making myself feel like, I'm ready.
Yeah, well, I even get my head shaved, occasionally, just because the fact is it's too much to deal with. Like if I'm in the shower, it takes forever to brush or does something like that. I'm like, all right, time to shave the head. When I start wearing a hat all the time, like I'm doing now, you start to be like, okay, he wants his hair cut because it's just difficult to deal with in the morning. It's so much easier just to be able to roll out of bed and head into work or something rather than, oh my God, my hair's everywhere. I got to do this, got to add this to that, got to spray this, got to spray that. I'm so much more like, that's obviously something like, even though you can be like, oh, hey, you got a haircut, it doesn't change like the way people think about you. Like if you have a beard, if you have anything, that's a dramatic change where people like couldn't even tell that you were the same person. If you get a haircut, people are like, oh, you got a haircut. Like you can still tell it's the same person, but if someone changes their face, like I guess that's because it's mostly on your actual appearance part of your face, not the top of your head.
Right, right. And I think that it is a little bit more, it disguises features of your face. So because there's quite a bit of coverage that happens with a beard and things that we identify as, clean shaven, you have a chin line, you have, you definitely can see your lips. There's definitely distinct things that we say, hey, that's what that person, who that person looks like. Without the beard, with a beard, you're kind of like you're hiding the chin. Sometimes you can't see their lips, especially if they got a big grizzly looking one, mustache and beard. So there's, it's just, but you do look for beard styles. So that style with them is what you kind of identify as them. They got that long beard. If you think about how you talk about somebody with a beard, it's a guy with the long beard that goes down to here. Uh, you know, Maybe he looks like Santa Claus. I don't know. But there's, definitely different styles, and it's an interesting rabbit hole that I stepped into. And I'll be honest with you, I did not expect it to be like this. I thought I'll just, I like growing a beard. And then I saw how I even got into this was a weird coincidence. Some guy around work who has a huge beard um, got some stuff from New York, and his wife's mom was allergic to it. So he was just giving it out. And I go, that smells really good. It's like a cologne. And I said, they make this stuff for beards? And he's like, yeah. And my biggest problem with growing a beard up until about a year and a half ago was that you get to a certain length and the beard itch would be so bad because your skin underneath is just not reacting well to that beard. And so once I found that there was beard oil that could help you hydrate that skin, make sure that it feels good, and well, moisturize that skin, not hydrate. But it it took on a new world. And the scents themselves are like, I like cologne a lot, so I was like, cologne, I'm putting on cologne, this is what it is, instead of having to put on cologne itself, which is really bad for you. Actually, most of it is. This stuff is all natural and it smells really good.
Well, what do you when you say beard reviewer though? Like, are you reviewing just beards or are you reviewing
Beard products.
beard products? Okay, because I thought that'd be weird if you're judging other people's
But
beards.
we still do that, believe it or not. There's still like, you're a beard product reviewer, but you're also analyzing people's beards because you're like, hey, that guy's got a beard, he's beard strong, he's got it's on point.
Well, what do you
You know,
find the most benefit when it comes to the bearded community? I've been involved now in the hot sauce community. I've talked to so many of them that it's a very, very beneficial group, I would say. Everybody's looking to help each other rather than hurting each other. I think that's definitely needed, like a beard group. I'm guessing what you find so interesting about it is the amount of support you probably get, just people coming together and really talking, not really narrowing anybody down, giving you good advice, much like you would look to like a family member, like be honest with me. Am I rocking it? Sorry, bro, you're not rocking it.
that's exactly it. It's I take a look at psychology of community, of groups, or it's a sociology thing, right? It's a community of guys that get along because of they have something in common. So we're looking for commonality. And because of that commonality of growing a beard, it could be hot sauce, it could be makeup. I've seen, and if you go on to Instagram, there's something for everybody on Instagram. There is a group for every person in social media. There just is. And Instagram just highlights these communities very well. And the bearded community is just one where the commonality is that we all have beards, but we're also looking for the community piece, the how do we support each other. We do a lot of charity work. one of my really good friends has a rare. I've had two really good friends that are beard product reviewers as well, and they were having some major medical problems, and they were they can't even sleep on regular beds. So the community bought them a chair that is kind of like a bed, so that they could sit up, and but it still was comfortable. That's the type of community that we are. We'll just charity work, trying to be uh, nice people to each other, but also, kind of do that outside of to the regular world. Just be good people. But we just find that commonality link, and I think that creates community.
Yeah, I look at positive communities like that. I think they're definitely needed. I mean, it's the same thing like in high school. Like you paired up with people that looked like you and dressed like you. They're the goth kids, the jocks, everything like this. Things you had similar characteristics and features. Same thing with the beer community. It's kind of more positive. I need to get involved in this community. I might not have one, but I'll be more than happy to talk to more of you.
Yeah,
It's
it's
just
totally fun, and it's weird because it's like a subculture of. I mean, there's YouTube review. We're on YouTube. We're on IG. I'm making TikTok videos and talking to other bearded dudes on TikTok. It's out there. Definitely interesting. I didn't know I was going to be down that niche.
what I have to ask you. It's going to be a hard question, I know, but your most either memorable thing about beards or your most memorable beard experience. Like for instance, um, we bought this dog when I was a little kid, maybe 11 or 12 years old or something. She was inbred puppy, and there was a few things wrong with her. She was a last of her batch. But I remember we us bringing her home, and my mom wanted to stop at Walmart. So my dad has his goatee and everything. He's sitting in the driver's spot holding the puppy on his shoulder, and she sat there while I legit went into Walmart for a few hours. I mean, she was gone for a very long time. I'm not talking about like legit. It was 5 p.m. She came out at 7:30. Um, I don't know what she did because she only bought 3 items, but I just remember watching, like, we called her Rio after the song, like, her name is Rio, and
Hmm.
yeah.
Duran, yeah.
And I remember she just kept going through my dad's beard. I mean, just sniffing through it. And my dad didn't have a thick beard. It was like, it was just a regular goatee. There's not much to go through. It's not like the fucking Amazon. And you're sitting there watching her for hours just do this thing. And I'm like, why? And he goes, I don't know. She likes it. So he just kept his head kind of pointed up towards towards the ceiling or whatever. And she just kept going through it. But literally, that was her like imprinted comfort zone because even when she got older, immediately my dad would sit on the couch. First thing she did, Rio would jump right up on the couch, get right up on his chest, exactly like she did when she was a puppy, put her head right up under his beard, and just sit there and go through it. That was immediately every single day when my dad would get home. And it was the same thing long until, like, the end of her days, she was doing that. And I was like, that's her comfort zone. So that really stuck out in my mind as something memorable about beards.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's a good story. And I think everybody has maybe somebody they knew with a beard. I didn't really have a lot of. My dad was military, and well, my stepdad was the one who I look as my dad. And then my bio dad kind of had a mustache for a little bit, so he rocked a mustache for a long time. So that was always something that uh, he was a good person. He's a very good person, but I remember being very, like, he always had that mustache. That was kind of his thing. Um, I think that one of my favorite, since I've joined this community, I think one of my favorite moments that I've had is when I was teaching meditation to a bunch of bearded dudes, and it was on another guy's YouTube stream, and he asked me to be his guest, and all these guys were asking me lots and lots of questions about, and
The bearded discussion. I think I saw that picture on your Instagram.
yeah. So I have a lot of discussions with guys, and that's kind of what my big thing is, to have discussions with guys, instead of just kind of like, hey, what's going on. I have a thing called the reviewers table I do every other Friday, and it's four guys, and we just talk about reviewing stuff, reviewing beard products, but then we also have these discussions. Like we had one on the coronavirus, and it was really, we had another couple guests that joined us, and it was about being scared at the same time. We're all scared, but we're all wanting to talk about it. It was like last Friday, or a week ago from Friday, and when everything was really hitting the news, and Trump had said, "Hey, I'm going to put some act in place to help make sure that there's things taken care of. I'm going to put some things in place so that we can help other people when we're going through this." And everybody was, it kind of scared people. So it was an outlet of being able to talk with other guys that were scared and still in that same space. So and my whole focus was, let's focus on facts. Let's not, react to things. Let's respond to things. And that was our biggest piece, was that we were just trying to make sure that it was out there, we were discussing it. And and to me, that's a moment that you don't get, every day.
Well, it's hard to really have a moment where people aren't just yelling at each other and just having a conversation. I mean, most beneficial thing I think I've done, and kind of most hurtful too, is starting a podcast. Is just because you get soaked up with so much information, which they always say ignorance is bliss, but it's so enjoyable having a conversation like this one, or doing something like being able just to talk. I mean, the world is constantly, people are either ignoring each other or yelling at each other. And it's just nice to see that there's like small knit communities, beard communities, hot sauce communities, ice communities, whatever you want to say, where there's just people that are truly trying to help each other and just talk to one another, because you guys are part of the same niche. You guys can relate over certain things. That positivity is what's really kind of needed in the world, and it shouldn't take a certain virus or shouldn't take a terroristic attack to bring us to a point where we have to start caring for one another.
Right, I completely agree with that. And as the Buddhist side of me says, that's where the meditation piece comes from. That's the one thing that we always draw upon, is that everybody has the same wants and needs. We all want to be happy, and we all don't want to suffer. And if you can draw upon that, realizing that every person's like that, they just do funky things to meet their needs that aren't always the most productive thing. But knowing it's their way of trying to meet their needs, it doesn't mean that they're wrong. They just don't know any other way. And when you can put that into perspective, that somebody's yelling at you, thinks that this is going to get them somewhere, then you can say, sometimes I get angry too. And being able to realize that people do get angry, people do get scared, and here's the reasons why. And sometimes it's legit, sometimes it's not, but the way they handle things is they're reacting to it. And that was what I saw was really reactionary. They weren't responding to a situation, they were reacting to it knee jerk and scared. And that's the first thing you do, fight or flight. You're just, what am I going to do now? And then people were really upset. And now that they're being quarantined, I think it scares them even more, because now there's not, the news is really just scary.
It's a giant ploy tactic. I mean, and plus when you're sitting inside your house watching it constantly, it just gets worse and worse and worse.
It
I feel
does.
I feel like the virus is like a placebo effect. It has some certain things that are bad, but I think we're making it so much more in our head that it's causing us to feel even weaker, not be able to handle it as well. I mean, we've literally scared the living crap out of us to the point where it's like, as everyone is legit wiping down 50 things at once. It's like, you haven't left the house. Nobody in the house is sick. Nobody's left in a week. You're not going to get it unless you go out. And I mean, they left all the major stores open. So it's like, you guys already kind of messed up a little bit. It's just got to run its course at this point.
Right. And I think that the thing that I've recognized is that it's people. People are scared animals. As a herd of people, we run in very scared ways at times. That was what the hoarding of the toilet paper was. And, you know, people going to getting like 20 bottles of bleach, preparing for doomsday. And without a lot of knowledge, they just were scared. And our immediate fight or flight reaction is to go do that kind of stuff. But then after a week or two, I think we'll start responding in a different way as we realize that it's not as big a thing as they said.
I take your advice because you got a beard, and I was always supposed to trust the guy with the beard.
I don't know about that. I know a lot of bearded guys, but they're not all trustworthy. But I do know that the funny thing about it is, and this is what I always tell people, even when our community, it happens every 3 or 4 months, just drama shows up, and there's just people that drive it, and it's just people. If you realize that people just are creatures of habit, some people just stir up drama because they don't know any other way. And if you just have patience with dealing with it and responding in a different way that's going to not fire them up or fire others around them up, then it will go away. And in this case, it's the same thing. If they would just positively giving out information, saying this is what's going on, um, the stores had already said, hey, we're going to limit your toilet paper usage because we know that you don't need all this. It's just about responding in a different way. Hopefully people will get the hint. I know that there's a lot of truckers that I follow, and truckers really are overworked right now, and they're really stressed out. There's actually some people that are saying, well, truckers haven't been paid very well in some time. So they're like, well, if we do a strike right now, like, no, this isn't the time to strike. This isn't
People at
time to prove a
Walmart,
point.
Walmart is hiring like crazy, but those guys are getting $500 bonuses on their next check because of the fact is they actually have to work now. You're unloading everything and it gets taken off the shelves immediately. So you're constantly just running back and forth. But everyone I've talked to about it's happy about it. Like I think we got to weather it out. It's gonna take a little bit. Everybody wants to talk about the coronavirus, and it's like I get it. But we're making it worse by hyping it up so much. Let's just let it run its course. Once it's gone, and we can move on to the next thing that's gonna end up coming at us later in life. It's
That's
always
this world. That's this world. This world is, it's always like this. It never changes. There's you can sit and follow, and there's always drama, even within your own life. There's always something that happens. Right now, my grandson I have a 10-year-old grandson that we thought actually might have coronavirus, but got the negative results this last week or yesterday. But he's in the hospital on a ventilator. There's always something in this life that's going to happen. And you just have to, just deal with it, respond with it the best you can. And that's all you can do. But it's all in the response. It's the only thing that you can control. And if you have that ability to respond and not just react and go crazy, then that's what people remember. It's how you respond in times of situations of when things get tough. That's really the things that you really need to worry about.
so that's why they call you the bearded practitioner.
That is why right there. But it's the truth. Yeah. Go ahead.
I really appreciate you coming out and doing the podcast, man. I mean, we did talk about beards, but I like it. It was an enjoyable conversation, man. And I really want to give you here a minute at the end to be able to promote your content, anything that people can find your page and maybe look to your wisdomatic beard guidance.
I am the Bearded Practitioner on almost every single social media out there. Facebook, you can find me there's a group called the Bearded Practitioner. I'm on YouTube as the Bearded Practitioner, which I'm trying to grow that channel. Instagram, I'm the Bearded Practitioner. On TikTok, I'm the Bearded Practitioner. So,
Well, thank you so much for listening to this episode of Out of the Blank podcast. And you know what? Do yourself a favor and grow a beard.